Welcome back to my channel, everyone. 3 tips here. And everybody has been asking about the constants that I use to calculate the amount of sterling silver that I need to inquart. For 14K, it's 1.265. 14K. For 10K, it's 0.635. 10K. And for 18K, it's 1.9. The first number that we want to find is the amount of percentage of pure gold that's in a 14K sample. So we take 14 divided by 24, because 24 is pure gold, right? 14 divided by 24 equals 0.583. Now I'll pick an arbitrary number for the example here. Let's pick 48 grams of 14K gold. To find out what the estimated yield is, I just multiply 0.583 times 48 grams, and I should expect to yield 27.9 grams of pure gold from 48 grams of 14K. We want to create an alloy that is 1 part gold and 3 parts silver and base metals. So we multiply this number times 3. 27.9 times 3 equals, so we want 83.7 grams of sterling silver in order to create an alloy that's 1 part gold, 3 parts silver and base metals. Just to review, I'm going to move it down here so I got some room to work. I got 14K gold, 48 grams. Multiply that by 0.583. I get 27.9 grams of pure gold. We multiply this by 3 and we get 83.7 grams of sterling that's needed to properly inquart 48 grams of 14K. My 14K gold, 48 grams of it, is going to have 27.9 grams of pure gold in it, plus the silver and the base metals. So to find out how much silver and base metals I have in the 48 grams of 14K, I've got to subtract out the pure gold. So minus 27.9. So we've got 48 minus 27.9 equals, we've got 20.1 grams of silver and base metals in this 48 grams of 14K. So now what I do is I have to subtract this amount of silver and base metals that's already in the alloy with our pure gold. I get 20.1 grams. I've got to take that away from here, the amount of sterling I need to add, and I get, what is that, 63.6 grams of sterling to properly inquart 48 grams of 14K gold. 14K gold is rarely ever plumb, and what I mean by that is it can be as low as 13.5K and still legally be stamped 14K. So we're going to be a little bit short in the amount of pure gold that we actually have in our 48 grams of 14K gold in this example. So what I normally do is I multiply this number by 0.95 to account for that shortage. So we've got 63.6 times 0.95 equals. So here in this example, after doing all these calculations, we have arrived at our final number, which is 60.4 grams of sterling silver to properly inquart our 48 grams of 14K gold. Now here we're going to show the beauty of using the constant instead of going through this long calculation. And it was one of my viewers who pointed this out to me. I had used this long form to calculate the amount of silver for inquartation for a long time. And one of my viewers come on and said, just use this constant. And the way we get it is we take the amount we've calculated with the long form, 60.4, and we divide it by the number of grams of 14K gold that we're going to be working with, divided by 48 grams equals, there's our constant right there, 60.4 divided by 48 equals 1.258. Okay, for 14K, I always use this number. This is the number that my viewer recommended, and it's the one I always use, and it works perfectly. 1.265. If you take this number and multiply it by the amount of 14K gold we're working with, 1.265 times 48 equals, notice we get 48 equals 60.7 grams. Now it's off by a few tenths, but notice that both of these answers are very close to each other. And so I always use this constant to calculate how much sterling silver I need. In this case, it's going to be 60.7. It's a little bit more than calculating it the long way, and I could probably adjust this to get it to come in a little better. But that's okay. I've used this ever since it was pointed out to me. It works perfect every time, and that is how we use the constants. That's how we derived the constants for our 14K gold. And that's when we figure out how much silver we need. Let's do another example. Let's say if we have 122.7 grams of 14K, we just take 122.7, multiply it by our constant, 1.265. 122.7 times 1.265, and we get equals 155.2 grams of sterling. And in that one calculation, we've determined how much sterling silver we need, rather than going through this long process here to get almost the same exact result. The 10K is identical. Let's pick a number here. Let's say we got 63 grams of 10K. In this long example for the 10K, 63 grams, we've done the long calculation and determined that we need 39.7 grams of sterling. All right, we can avoid doing all of this calculation by taking our constant for 10K, which is 0.635, multiplying it by the amount of 10K karat gold that we have. 63 times 0.635 equals 40 grams. Notice that it's very close to the 39.7. 63 times 0.635. 635 equals 40 grams. The long calculation produced this result, and the short constant produced this result. I'd much rather just use the constant instead of having to do all of this calculating to come up with the amount of sterling silver I need. And I wish I could remember the person who pointed this out to me. It's been a great deal of help to me, and it works like a charm every time. I'm sorry to have to do this. This is our calculations that we just did. But I promised Mrs. Three Tips that I would take care of this today. And if I don't do it, I'm liable to get skinned. These are watches that we've accumulated over a period of a couple years. And what I'm going to try to do is offer these for sale on my eBay site. Alright, there's probably several hundred watches in this group. Some of them run, I mean, they're not bad watches. Some of them run. Most of them are just going to need batteries. All of the gold-filled and karat gold watches and all the mechanical wind-up watches have been removed from this lot. So it's just all going to be quartz watches. Some of them are broken and probably beyond repair. I just threw them in that bin and just collected these. But most of them are just probably going to need some batteries. There's probably going to be some worn out and broken bands in here. But what we'll do is I'll probably have to ship this in 2 separate containers. What I'm doing here is loading 2 boxes with the watches. I'll fill each of these boxes, then seal them up. And then we'll put these boxes inside of USPS large flat rate shipping boxes and ship both boxes as one lot for all of these watches. I've got the watches all boxed up. 2 boxes. This lot will contain 2 boxes, and they will ship independent of each other. Let's see how we can get this. I've got the scale set up here so we can see how many pounds are in each box. Alright, that one's got 20 pounds. Take off 1 pound for the container. So there's 19 pounds of watches in that box. And then on this one, box number 2, we've got 25. Take off 1 for the box. So that's 24 plus 19. That's 43 pounds of wristwatches that we'll be selling on the eBay site. We'll put this up for bids. Ship both boxes as one lot. Alright, this will conclude the video. Thank you for watching.